It's go time, this is game day, sports radio. Hope you got your game face on, let's go. We be talking all sports, every year a new season. Who the best players are and who your favorite team is. Dr. and Parker got what you need. When it comes to the podcast, we're still undefeated. We hate losing, we're on a winning streak. Come and see us, we'll be here talking sports every week.
Hey, it's Doctor here from Unique Beats. We're here for Game Day! Alongside Parker, we're going to be covering some Colts, some NBA, and some MLB. So be able to tune in to the Unique Beats studio and the Game Day podcast. What up with it?
This is Parker coming to you live here from the Unique Beats studio. This is Game Day, bringing up your Colts preseason. We got the Colts that'll play the Carolina Panthers at Lucas Oil, and the Minnesota Vikings at the U.S. Bank Stadium, and the Detroit Lions at Ford Field in 3 2020 preseason games. The 3 games mark the return of preseason contests, which were eliminated in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. As part of NFL's expansion to 17 regular season games, the preseason was shortened to each team playing 3 games instead of 4. You can take a look at those dates and times for those 3 games are yet to be announced. But the Colts last played regular season games against the Lions and the Vikings in 2020 and the Panthers in 2019. What do you say, Doctor?
Well, I'm honestly excited to see this Colts team in action this preseason. They've got some rookies coming in. That edge rusher from Michigan, Quiddy Pay, he should beef up that defensive line. But the one quarterback I'm really excited to look forward to, I know Wentz is probably going to be good in this new offense, but the one quarterback I'm really looking forward to seeing is Jacob Eason. I haven't seen much of him this year, so really excited to see him.
Very nice. It looks like Carson Wentz is fitting in pretty well. What do you say?
I would say, yeah, he probably is fitting in pretty well. According to many people around the league, he's a pretty good guy. His head coach now is actually his offensive coordinator, so I think he'll fit right in with this offense and this culture that Frank Reich has built. So, pretty exciting stuff being a Colts fan.
So while Carson Wentz quickly got to work with some of his new teammates after being traded from the Philadelphia Eagles to the Colts earlier this year, the last 2 weeks have been an opportunity for the quarterback to really get to know his team and vice versa. And it's clear that Wentz made a strong impression during the Colts' work at the Indiana Farm Bureau Football Center this month, especially these last 2 weeks. He says, "I know, and I can feel it. Carson has made his presence known on his team." Coach Frank said, "And this team has embraced his leadership." Multiple players over the last few days have described Wentz as a great guy. Quentin Nelson, Jake Doyle, Zach Pascal, and Paris Campbell all described him that way, while center Ryan Kelly used a different adjective, saying his new quarterback is an awesome guy.
So as you can see, he's fitting in really well there. But one thing that will help Wentz out is that he's got those monsters up there on the offensive line. Quentin Nelson is rated the top guard in the NFL. If you remember back in the Andrew Luck days, Luck didn't have a good offensive line, but once they got Nelson in there, it became one of the best lines in football. So I'm excited to see what Wentz does with this whole new offense and O-line around him.
So they're saying a Wentz can throw a ball about 80 to 100 yards for sure, while Michael Pittman Jr. recalled his new quarterback unleashing a 65-yard heave on a pass route during one of their early throwing seasons. I was like, oh my gosh, I really got to dig down and run, Pittman said.
Yeah. So Carson Wentz coming out of North Dakota State, he had a really big arm, and that there's actually a throw on YouTube that is posted of him like on his knees. He's falling to his knees, and he's throwing the ball at least 45 yards downfield. A pure athlete like that doesn't come around very often, and I'm sure the Colts are very happy to have him around.
So Wentz is working to get to know his teammates, too, on both a personal and professional level to build trust as he expects there to be an informal throwing season away from Colts HQ between now and training camp. All the points to a successful 2 weeks for Wentz and the Colts in the Indianapolis, the kind of thing that builds a foundation ahead of training camp and then a regular season. And so far, building that foundation has done well, he says. The way he works, he's so dialed in, Pittman said. He is on a mission.
Of course he's gonna be on a mission. I mean, if you remember the Eagles, they drafted a quarterback by the name of Jalen Hurts in the second round last year, and then he underperformed, but that wasn't all on Wentz. Wentz had a lackluster offensive line and supporting cast around him, and when he didn't, he looked like an MVP before he got hurt. So, of course he's on a mission, because everyone was doubting him, even on his own team.
So what do you say, Doctor? Do you think the Colts are going to have a pretty good season?
I would think so. I mean, if Wentz plays well, then yes. If he doesn't, I still think they make the playoffs. I'd probably look for a 10-7 to 11-6 record if Wentz plays well.
Well, that ends the Colts preseason. We're going to go right into Porzingis fined for $50K here in the NBA. What do you think on that, Doctor?
This is a whole new interesting situation, to say the least. But Porzingis is definitely one of those guys that his name is well recognized within the NBA community.
You know what? He has been recognized, but this pandemic has kind of just screwed sports up dramatically. You know, the Dallas Mavericks forward Porzingis was just recently fined $50,000 for attending a club on May 23rd in violation of the NBA's health and safety protocols. The league announced Tuesday. The league's protocols do offer more freedoms to vaccinated players, but the players are not allowed to go to clubs, bars, or lounges regardless of vaccination status. His attendance wasn't deemed to be risked in the terms of spreading COVID-19, according to the medical experts that the league consulted, so he will not need to quarantine.
That's good news for the Mavericks, considering they have a tough team on the Clippers that they're playing in the playoffs. But they are up 2-0 right now, and they've got a talented 1-2 punch with Luka and Porzingis. Porzingis, though, is definitely the glue that holds that team together. So glad to see that nothing major happened, just a $50,000 fine, and hopefully everyone can just move on.
So it looks like the Los Angeles Lakers forward LeBron, who was attended to an event as well to promote tequila brand, he invests. The NBA did not punish him, and he is planned in both his team's play-in game against the Golden State Warriors and Game 1 of their series against the Phoenix Suns without incident. The NBA explained the difference between his violation and Porzingis's in a statement after issuing the fine via the Athletic Shame.
My whole entire stance on that, I mean, yes, Porzingis was at a bar or nightclub, wherever he was, but still, I mean, if you're going to fine Porzingis, at least fine LeBron if you're going to hold him to that strict of policies, or at least it's just how I see it. I just don't see this as fair. I think Porzingis got screwed over.
Yeah, but they were saying in an article in this CBS that the reason why they didn't fine LeBron is because he was at an outdoor event and Porzingis was, in an indoor event closer to people. So they're saying the protocol violation was on a case-by-case basis. And it determines the quarantines and the disciplines based on the individual facts and the circumstances of each matter.
Okay, that still makes a little sense, but at least fine LeBron just a little bit. You know what I mean? That you don't have to $50,000, but at least a little bit just to get a point across. You know what I mean?
Looks like Porzingis is slated to play in the Game 2 of the Dallas series against the Los Angeles Clippers on Tuesday. This is not his first offense when it comes to the COVID-19 rules. Last July in Orlando bubble, he missed a scrimmage because he missed a COVID test. The stakes are decidedly higher for playoff games, but fortunately the Mavericks, Porzingis will only be fined.
Yeah, that's a big break for the Mavericks there. They need him. They need a good big on the inside to pair with their really good point guard, Luka Doncic. And they are comparing this duo to many others, but the Mavs definitely need Porzingis there. He's one of their more defensive players on an offensive-centered team.
Nets wallop Celtics in Game 2, a scary sight for other championship contenders. Nets steamroll Celtics and lead series 2-0.
This one hurt coming from a Celtics fan standpoint, but I wouldn't exactly say it would be a scary sight for other championship contenders. Man, that hurt to say. The Celtics were at 500, compiling a record of 36-36. Their top two scorers were Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown on the year. Both were all-stars. But if you look at Brooklyn's roster, you would see that they have three possible Hall of Famers on their starting backcourt, and Kyrie, Harden, and Durant. So I'm not saying that Brooklyn isn't a championship contender. I definitely think they are. But if they ran into a tough team like Milwaukee, I think they would find not as much or not as easy wins as they did the other night. And that's just my opinion. Now, I think they will get past the Celtics and possibly into the conference finals, but I don't think they'll make it to the actual finals.
So on Saturday, Harris scored 10 points on 4 for 11 shooting, including 2 for 6 from the deep in the Nets series opening defense field victory, in which their big three scored 82 of their 103 points. On Tuesday, he checked out to an invitation at Barclays Center with 8:19 left in the fourth quarter with 25 points in 29 minutes on a 9 for 14 shooting, 7 for 10 from the deep.
7 for 10 from deep, that's 21 points there just alone. So that shows you how high-powered this offense is. Parker said 82 points out of their 103 came from those three alone. So if you look at that, that just shows you how high-powered this offense, or not just this whole team is, basically. But now Brooklyn has built a super team, and but I do think that they meet their match in Milwaukee here in a little bit.
So Blake Griffin said Sunday that while it isn't a luxury to have 3 premier scorers on the roster, the team had to remember to not get complacent, where it's just like that. Oh, just throw one of them of the ball and let them do their thing all season. The coaching staff has stressed spacing, movement, and connectivity. In Harris's view, Brooklyn has gotten away from that in the excitement of the movement, the first playoff game and the first game with a packed house.
I agree with Griffin there. Sometimes you get caught up in emotion, especially in sports, with fans coming back. That's a huge thing. And but just like he said, this whole team has been built around stars, and for you to be able to make sure that those stars are happy or that those stars work together, you got to pass the ball. And so we'll see if that will become a factor later down the road.
Boston and Brooklyn both switching on defense in effect to encourage stagnant isolation play and keep star players from getting downhill. At their best, though, the Nets make defense games plans irrelevant, and a fact should scare every other title contender. They free shooters with flare screens, then punish help defenders with hard cuts, and they put opponents in impossible positions. Repeatedly, Boston coach Brad Stevens has praised Brooklyn not only for its firepower, but for the angles at which the players set screens and the way they move on the weak side.
That just shows that you've got experience and well-coached athletes on your team. If they are that good at freeing open shooters and creating space from their defenders, then of course they're going to score points, especially when you have three perennial all-stars on your team, and those guys had to help. But you would have to think that most of this goes to coaching as well as star power.
So before Game 2, Nash said that he hoped that the Nets would have one or two little movements in which they can say, that's what we're looking for. Instead, he was treated a highlight reel. First, it was Harris' series of threes, including a clean look into the corner after the Celtics trapped James Harden.
That's just another example of how crazy this team is. It's like you turn one way, and then there's another one, and then there's another one. And I don't even think Harden is the most dangerous player on this team. I think Kevin Durant is, because of his size as a big, he can match up.
Yeah, I would probably say Kevin Durant or Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown produced when he did that 6-foot 3-point from point center. He cut to the basket as Kevin Durant was double-teamed in the post. Durant discussed his pass by keeping his eyes on Harris.
Yeah, you got to keep your eyes on Harris at all times, offensively and defensively. I think Harris is the secret gem to this team. I think if they do make a playoff run, it could be because of Harris and others, of course. But I think Harris could definitely be a dark horse coming into this whole thing.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing these next two games. As Doctor was telling me, I do believe there's 4 games in the series. So I'm hoping the Celtics come back and give the Brooklyn that game. I don't know how to say this at all, but give them a run for their money per se.
Yeah, I hope so too. Being a Celtics fan, I really hope that they can turn it around and possibly make a comeback. But I mean, in all reality, the Celtics, this just hasn't been their year, and this is a phase where maybe you try to make some good moves in the off season and try to revamp. And we'll see what next season brings for the Boston Celtics if they don't make a huge comeback against all odds. All right, so we were going to jump right into MLB action, but before we do that, Parker's got promotion for a local gym, Indiana Strength and Fitness. Parker?
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out to Aaron, Christina, and Christine for putting on a great Pro-Am sanction event this past week. It was a great show. Had one of the ladies actually make a world record. It was a pretty cool experience seeing some pro women athletes come in and see all the vendors. A big shout out to the Saucy Zoodle and Barbie Q. It's a barbecue truck new to the Huntington area, as long as BJ's. So a big shout out to them, and a big shout out to Indiana Strength and Fitness for putting on a great show. So they ended up giving us a few things there for the show that we want to do a giveaway. We've got a Born Primitive. It's a $20 gift card. You enter 10-digit code at checkout. We got that code here. So what I say is go to uniquebeats.com. Check out all of our social media. Like, add us, share, tune in to the game day with Doctor and Parker, and enter your chance to win $20 off. Or we've got a $10 off for Cyberus Strength. It's Cyberus, I do believe, do the weightlifting belts. And then we also got another $10 off code for the Savage Strength for some proteins and a couple stickers. So again, give us a like, share, follow us, let us know where you're tuning in from, and enter a chance to win these nice giveaways. This is your Major League Baseball standings. American League East, looks like the Rays are up for a 30-win with 20 loss. It looks like they've got 11-13 in their home games and 19-7 in their away games. And then we got the Red Sox following them along with the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Oilers. In the Central League, we got the White Sox winning 28 games, losing 19 games. It looks like they're 16-8 at home, 12-11 away, following by the Indians, Royals, Twins, and the Tigers. In the West, we have the Athletics winning 28 games, losing 22 games, 14-15 home games. We got 14-7 on away games, and they're following the Astros, Mariners, Rangers, and Angels. It looks like going into the National League for the East, we have the Mets winning 22 games, losing 20 games. We're 12-5 on home, 10-15 away. They're following the Braves. Go Braves! Big Atlanta Braves fan. It looks like they're 24-24. 13-14 in home games, 11-10 in away games, following the Phillies, Marlins, and the Nationals. It looks like the Central, the Cardinals are up 26 wins to 22 losses, 15-10 at home, 11-12 away. Following by the Cubs. Go Cubs! 25 wins, 22 losses. It looks like they're 16-9 on home. Away 9-13. Following by the Brewers, the Reds, and the Pirates. It looks like the West, we've got the Padres winning 31 games, losing 18 games. It looks like they're 18-10 at home, 13-8 away. Tracing by the Dodgers, the Giants, the Rockies, and the Diamondbacks. That is your Major League standings here on Game Day Radio.
All right, so school's out in the Huntington district, but baseball season is not. As the Vikings prepare to take on Fort Wayne Northside, here's a preview. So the Vikings are 3-2, third in the conference, but they are one of the lower seeds in their sectional. They are a 7-16 team. They've looked good throughout the season at some points, beating teams like East Noble, who boast a strong 21-6 record, and they are right below the Knights of East Noble, and East Noble has a 5-2 record in the conference. Now Northside, on the other hand, they did not do too hot this year, boasting a 2-23 record. I would expect the Vikings to beat Northside pretty handily and continue to play for a sectional title. On to Parker with some recruiting news.
So we're going to get into the Wabash Apaches calendar schedule for sports coming up. So looks like today we had the boys varsity golf at Southwood at Eastern here at home. So stay tuned to that. You can check them out on wabashapaches.net/events, along with the boys varsity baseball IHSAA sectionals. Looks like we got Thursday the 27th at 4:30, the boys varsity golf against North Miami High School. And that will be here at home. And we got the boys varsity track, the regionals for the boys. That's away. That'll be in Marion. Along with the girls varsity track. That'll be away in Marion as well. And the girls varsity softball for the sectional championship will be at home on Thursday at 7 p.m. March 29th, we got the boys varsity golf. It's the Wabash Invitational. That'll be here Saturday the 29th at 8:30. Boys varsity baseball sectional game Saturday the 29th at 1 p.m. That'll be here at home. And Monday the 31st, we got boys varsity baseball at 7 p.m. That's the sectional championship, the G3 winner versus the G4 winner. And that will be here at home as well. So I wanted to get in a little bit of topics on football for the Wabash Apaches. It looks like Boggs signs to Mount St. Joseph. Bryant Boggs signs letter of intent to play football at Mount St. Joseph. Bryant was a 4-year letter winner for the Wabash Apaches football program. He also played basketball and baseball for 4 years. Bryant high school accomplishments are in 2020 football, all TRC wide receiver. 2019, he was the football all-county first team offense. In 2020, the football all-county first team offense. In 2020, football all-state honorable mention. Bryant includes Key Club and AMP as far as campus life. Bryant plans to obtain a degree in sports management. We want to give a big UB shout out to Bryant Boggs for continuing his athletic career at the next level. We are Wabash Apache pride. And that was your recap there for high school sports. We got Doctor coming to you with a little bit of something from football experience.
As one of the greatest kickers of all time in the game of football has just retired. Adam Vinatieri has decided to hang it up. He was a longtime Patriots and Colts kicker, and he was the reason why Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl. He's known for a lot of famous kicks over the years, and he's a true icon to the game. Adam announced his retirement on the Pat McAfee show, and it's no surprise considering Pat and Vinatieri were very close throughout Vinatieri's playing career. He's known as one of the most clutch kickers of all time to ever lace him up. Thank you, Adam. All right, so that will wrap up game day here at Unique Beats Studio. Thank you for tuning in. Gladly appreciate it. And catch us on another episode of Game Day later on.
It's go time, this is Game Day Sports Radio. Hope you got your game face on, let's go. We be talking all sports, every year a new season. Who the best players are and who your favorite team is. Dr. and Parker got what you need. When it comes to the podcast, we're still undefeated. We hate losing, we're on a winning streak. Come and see us, we'll be here talking sports every week.